Douglas calls on Harris to disclose if Peter Virdee has a St. Kitts and Nevis diplomatic passport. Basseterre, St. Kitts, May 17, 2018, Leader of the Opposition in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzil L. Douglas has called on Prime Minister Dr. the Honourable Timothy Harris to tell the nation if British property tycoon Peter Virdee has a diplomatic passport issued by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Virdee is accused of bribing St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris and other Caribbean politicians after secretly taped telephone calls emerged in a London High Court judgment issued last week. Mr. Virdee and business associate Dieter Truchler were taped making references to the topic of payments or gifts to government officials. During Wednesday's Issues program on Freedom 106.5 FM, opposition leader Douglas disclosed, Virdee has a St. Kitts and Nevis diplomatic passport. Just before I came here, I was reliably informed, and I have also been informed officially and confidentially and fearlessly, that Peter Virdee carries a diplomatic passport, and I am told, and it is being alleged, that Harris knows about it, Dr. Douglas told listeners. He said Prime Minister Harris is the only person who issues diplomatic passports here in St. Kitts and Nevis. How come Peter Virdee is carrying a diplomatic passport? What did he pay to get this diplomatic passport? He asked. Responding to statements that Virdee is an economic citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis acquired under his former administration and it implicates him in the Virdee Antigua St. Kitts bribery scandal, the former Prime Minister said, I would like to reiterate again what I have said previously, that if Mr. Virdee is indeed an economic citizen as a result of the Citizenship by Investment program, this was never brought to my attention, nor was I aware of it, said Dr. Douglas. He said, however, that is indeed true, it has no bearing whatsoever on the integrity of the due diligence process as it was instituted under his administration. The fact of the matter is that no one has control over what an economic citizen chooses to do once he has been cleared by the due diligence process and acquired citizenship. But what our Citizenship by Investment Act does provide for, is that if an economic citizen commits a crime after receiving citizenship and has been found guilty by a court, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis reserves the right to revoke his citizenship and confiscate his or her passport. This is our fail-safe mechanism for dealing with such contingencies, Dr. Douglas said. Photo, Peter Virdee.
Harris, you should resign, and Unity should ask that Harris resign. Grant should ask Harris to resign. All of them should ask Harris to resign, including the AG. But again, can the AG do it? Huh? We don't know. It's interesting to ask this question. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, listeners. In every attempt that this Team Unity administration has tried to link me with any scandal, their arguments have always fallen apart. During the run-up to the last election, they engaged in a vicious, unrelenting campaign to destroy my good name and reputation. They even claimed that they would have me investigated and incarcerated the minute they got into office. FBI was going to be on my tail. Number one, me ain't got a tail. However, what has become of that? Now that they are in government and have complete access to all of our records and files, they have not been able to bring forth one piece of evidence to show that I committed any wrongdoing during my 20 years in office. And this brings me, firstly, or I should say lastly, to the next accusation that is being lodged. That is that Mr. Virdee is an economic citizen, and if this were somehow true, that would implicate me in this scandal. Firstly, I would like to reiterate again what I have said previously, that if Mr. Virdee is indeed an economic citizen as a result of the Citizenship by Investment program, this was never brought to my attention, nor was I aware of it. But I go further now, because you see, Ike, just before I came here, I have been reliably informed that Peter Virdee is not an economic citizen. But I have also been informed officially and confidentially, and fearlessly I say it, that Peter Virdee carries a St. Kitts Nevis diplomatic passport. And I am told, and it is being alleged, that Harris knows about it. Harris is the only person who issues diplomatic passports here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Therefore, the question must be asked, how come? We had the questions from Charles Wilkin. How come he is carrying a diplomatic passport? What did he pay to get this diplomatic passport? Huh? That is the question that I leave with you and our listeners to ask about this afternoon.